time of the season today in the sartorial kitchen. I'm using the rest of the thyme out of my garden to make some lemon garlic roasted potatoes, a feta stuffed lamb sausage with a roasted grape sauce, and last but not least, a lemon olive oil cake with a thyme simple syrup. So why don't you pull up a chair and dine with me? Welcome back, everybody. Yes, I've got a lot of thyme today. That is what we were cooking with. My thyme did really well in the garden this year, so I am taking full advantage. And I'm starting off with a cake. While it bakes, we can tend to the rest of our meal. So I just got 2 eggs here. I'm going to give those a little whisk. I always start with my eggs. I can watch for eggshells. We do not want eggshells in our cake. So this is a lemon olive oil cake with thyme. So wet ingredients. I've got my 2 eggs. To that, I'm going to got a cupful of vanilla. Some sour cream. About a cup. And you can use Greek yogurt, you can use any kind of dairy. It's kind of thick like this, kefir. I just happen to have sour cream on hand, so I thought that would be what I use. It's going to make this cake nice and moist and decadent. Beautiful. I also have some honey here. And I want about a half cup of honey for some sweetness. You could use sugar if you want it. You could use maple syrup. I'm trying to keep this Greek today, so I thought we would just do the honey. It's a lot of honey. And then I did the sour cream first, so the honey wouldn't all stick in here, and I could actually get it out into my bowl. That honey smells so good. So good. Okay. Time for some lemon. I'm zesting this whole lemon. I've got 2 lemons. I'm going to use the juice of both lemons. And then the zest of 1 lemon is going to go into a potato dish I'm making later, because you know how much I love lemon and potatoes together. And then this zest is going right in here. And I zest it right over the bowl because I want those oils of the fresh zest to get into this cake, because it's going to give it even more flavor. I'm making sure to get all the way around and stopping right before the pith, because the pith is really bitter. We don't want that pith. But I think this is pretty good, and of course we always check the back for stragglers. And ooh-wee, I can smell that lemon, it's so good. Okay, and we'll just cut this baby in half. And we get out my little fancy lemon juicer here. And we just give it a nice squeeze. So you need about a half cup to a cup of juice. That's why I'm using 2 lemons. All right, that is it for the lemon, for now. And then our last wet ingredient, some olive oil. And we're gonna get our measuring cup out again. And there we have it, a half cup of olive oil, what I call an olive oil cake. And then the oil you can kind of use if there's anything left in this measuring cup. Kind of scrape that out. And then we will come in here with my whisk and just zhuzh everything together. I want to break down that sour cream so it's not all gloopy. We'll get a nice little wet batter here. Looks good. Now for the dry ingredients. We start with my sifter, of course, and some flour, all-purpose flour. I need 2 1/4 cup. Now the flour, I am more diligent about measuring, because too much flour can give you a really dense cake. And to make sure we get an accurate measure, I kind of pat it down lightly and level it off, and then that goes right in there. There is 2 cups and a 1/4. And to make sure this is a nice, light and fluffy cake, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, which sounds like a lot, but I want this to be a really nice, tall, fluffy cake. And a generous pinch of salt to round out all those flavors in there. And then we just give it a little tappity tap tap tap. And that's why we sift. We have all these lumps in here. We don't want a lumpy cake. And it's goodbye whisk and hello spatula. And then I'll just come in here, get underneath, and fold that wet over top of the dry gently until it's well incorporated. Don't want to overmix the flour, otherwise you overdevelop that gluten and you will end up with a dense cake. Our batter is looking pretty good, but I just have one more thing for that. Can't have lemon olive oil cake with thyme without thyme. So here's some thyme picked off the stem. I'm just going to give it a rough chop. I have big pieces in here. You can smell that thyme when you cut into it. Oh, so good. Okay, so that thyme is nice and minced. And it's about a teaspoon, give or take. And I wait to do that last because it's not really going to sift through our sifter. And then I'm just going to kind of fold that in so it's evenly distributed. Oh, and the lemon and the thyme go beautifully together. Guys, that smells so good. Okay. I've got a little round cake pan here that I've greased heavily. And then we're just going to dump that batter right into here. Okay, that looks pretty good there. I'll just come in here, smooth this out so it's one even layer across the top. That way it bakes evenly. Alright, so our cake is ready there. Doesn't that look beautiful? And it's going into the oven. 350 degrees. It's going to cook for about 30 to 35 minutes until a cake tester comes out clean. Alright, welcome back, guys. Cake is in the oven, and now we're going to talk potatoes. So these are just some baby russets I got from the store, giving them a little rinse in case there's any dirt on them still. And then I'm just going to come in here. I've got a towel. I'm just kind of let these dry. I'm going to be making a marinade for these. And I do want to dry it off so my marinade sticks. And we're going to have some fun here. This is when you get to play with your food. So we're going to dump our potatoes in here. Now we can get the top parts of these. Make sure they're nice and dry. Beautiful. Goes right in there. Next, I've got some whole garlic pieces. Just get in there with your wrist and give it a good smash, and these break open. And then you can come in with your knife, smash it again to get the rest of that skin off. And you can kind of break this up a little if you want. I think I will cut off some of the ends where it's bitter. And just throw that right in. And then come in here with the rest of that. Just a rough chop. Alright, fresh garlic is messy, but it is worth it. Now that we've got that out of the way, we can come in here with some olive oil. About a half cup or so like earlier. We want to make sure these potatoes are covered generously so they get nice and crisp. Now we'll come in here with some flavorings. First, a little dill. About a couple teaspoons of dill, because this is a lot of potatoes here. Just kind of rub that in. Some oregano, about equal parts oregano. Just lots of great Greek flavors here. And then the oregano I rub through my hands to release those oils. Maybe just a little more there. Some more of my thyme, and I just come right side up and just kind of run my nails down the thyme, and all those leaves come off. We don't want the stem, we just want the leaves. And these leaves are pretty little. I won't chop them up like I did for the cake, but I am doing about 3 bundles worth because I really want to make sure we taste the thyme in these potatoes. Of course, thyme and potatoes go great together. And one more stalk. Beautiful. It smells so good, guys. I love it. Alright. And then, of course, we cannot forget our salt and pepper. Because potatoes are naturally bland and they need all the seasoning they can get. I'm going to come in here with a good amount of salt. About 2 teaspoons. It's a lot of salt, but it's a lot of potatoes. And about teaspoon or so of pepper. And here's where the fun comes in. Seal this baby up. Get as much air out of there as you can. And make sure it's sealed good. I'm going to just come in here and shoot this up. I'm going to take it back and forth from side to side. You can come in here with your hands and give it a massage. You just want to make sure all the potatoes and garlic get covered in oil. And all of those seasonings get on all the parts of the potato. Oh, it looks so good. Alright, so this isn't marinated. It's going to go in my fridge while we prep our lamb. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, we got our potatoes marinating. Our cake is baking off and it smells beautiful. So we're going to prep our lamb. Again, starting with a couple eggs. And just kind of give those a little stir. So I wanted to do some kind of lamb preparation. And the only lamb I could really get my hands on was some ground lamb. So I thought, let's do some sausages. Why not? So that's what we're going to do here. So I have 2 packages. Just small little packages of lamb here. And I don't want any of that bloody juice in my meatballs, so I'm just going to give that a little squeeze there. And then open this up the rest of the way. And just drop that right down into my mixing bowl. And you could do meatballs like this, or like a lamb meatloaf. But I thought the sausages would be more fun, and I have a little secret ingredient we're going to put inside it to make it extra fabulous. So here's the lamb. We're going to season this baby up. So I have some more of my thyme here. And again, just like before, run our hands down the stem and get all those leaves off. We don't want the stem in there. We just want the leaves. And a good amount of this thyme because I really want it to shine through here. Now you could use any kind of meat for this preparation, but thyme and lamb go really good together. If you wanted to do chicken instead, or even pork, that is also an option. That looks good. Okay, so more of my oregano. A good generous amount here, just like with the potatoes. And then we run our hands through here to release those oils. So good. A little nutmeg, keeping with that Greek theme, and about a quarter teaspoon. It goes a long way. Some of my jarred garlic. About a couple teaspoons, and I'm going to grab some of that oil too that it's preserved in, because that has a lot of flavor in there. Some paprika for a little heat and a little color. And don't forget the salt and pepper. A couple little teaspoons of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. And to help bind this with the eggs, I've got some matzo meal here left over from a cook I did last season. I'm going to start with about a 1/4 cup and see what kind of texture I get there. We can always add more if we need to. And we are ready to mix this up. Got some gloves on. I'm just going to come in here and mix all this together. I don't want to overwork the meat so it doesn't get tough on us. Oh, you can smell those flavors in here. It smells amazing. You just want to get that egg incorporated. All those flavors. You're looking for like a meatball kind of consistency. We're not quite there yet, so I think I am going to go ahead and add a little more to my matzo meal. And then you just kind of work that in. Alright, that looks pretty good. Ended up with about 3/4 cup total on the matzah. And now for the secret ingredient. Alright, time for the secret ingredient, although not that big a secret, feta. So I thought it would be interesting when I found out I was going to be doing sausages to make cheese stuffed sausages. So I got a block of feta. I usually use the crumble because it's easier, but I thought it would be fun if we stuffed the sausage with the feta. So I'm just going to cut this into little strips, about 1/4 inch across. We may not use all of this. We can top our potatoes with any that we have left, just like that. And I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm just going to take a strip of the cheese and some of our sausage mixture, and just like that I'm going to kind of fit it around the cheese just till it's completely covered. want it to ooze out and burn. And then you can kind of roll the sausage out. So I want it to be a kind of even consistency, so it cooks through without getting too done on the outside. And then you can lay that out. And then we'll come in here with another piece of cheese and continue the process. Okay. So we did pretty good here. We got 8 sausages put together, and I do have some feta left, so I will be able to repurpose that. I'm going to set these in my fridge to let them firm up, and in the meantime, I think our cake is ready to come out. Okay, let's check this baby out. Oh yeah, nice and crusty on the edges, and I greased it really good. You can see it's pulled away from the sides of the pan. It's nice and firm on top, but of course I'm going to test it with a little toothpick. And it comes out clean, beautiful. So I am using a wire rack to cool this evenly. I like to let air get underneath. It helps the cake come out nice and clean. And I am going to go ahead and poke a few more holes in this because I'm making a simple syrup that we're going to soak the cake with. It's going to be a thyme simple syrup. So what is a simple syrup? Equal parts sugar and water. It's used as a sweetener to flavor alcoholic drinks. It's used as a soak for cakes. And you basically just cook it until that sugar has dissolved. And I'm going to throw in a couple bundles of my thyme here. You can leave it on the stem because we'll be able to pull those out. And then that's just going to cook down. I've got it on a medium heat. It's just going to cook down slowly and really flavor this simple syrup. And while that goes, I think we can get our potatoes going in the oven. All right. So it's time for potatoes to get in the oven here. I'm using my cast iron. I want these to get a nice sear. And then I can just take the bag and kind of fan those out so they all will roast evenly. And it's going to go in my oven. I've got it at 425. This is just going to cook for about 40 to 45 minutes. Okay. Let's get this baby out of here. I'll turn that off. You can see the thyme has done its part. I'm just going to run a knife along here to make sure that it is nice and loose, and that should pop right out. Oh, look at that, guys, beautiful. And then we'll just transfer it over here. I got a little cake plate. I laid down some parchment to prevent from making a mess. And then you can pull the stems out. We don't want the stems on our cake. Now I don't want to over soak this, so I'm just going to take a spoon here and just spin some of that on top. And you do it while the cake's still kind of warm because it absorbs all those flavors like a sponge. And you can see it just kind of bleed down into the cake. And I just do a little. I don't want the cake to get too moist and fall apart. So I probably will not even use all of this. But I just get around the edges and into the kind of interior of the cake. And I think that will be good. Just one little go around. Beautiful. Now we'll set this aside for later, and then we will get started on our lamb. Alright, I got my grill pan out. I thought these would look really good with the grill marks on it. Just a little olive oil to keep it from sticking. And we make sure the pan is hot, but not too hot, so the lamb cooks through eternally before it gets too done on the outside. I'm just going to brush that around, that oil, so it's nice and coated on all sides. And then we come here with my tongs. Another reason I let this lamb firm up in the fridge first is it holds together while it cooks and it's not falling apart on us. And this grill pan's only so big, so I may have to cook this in stages, but I'm just going to start. I think I can fit about 4, and then we'll do another 4. Just fine, because we have plenty of time for those potatoes to cook. And I have one more thing to show you while that finishes cooking off. I have some grapes here. I'm just going to give those a little rinse. And another little pan here. And you can leave it on the stem, or you can pull it off the stem, the grapes. I think I'm going to pull it off the stem. And I probably won't use all of these. I'll save some to snack on later. But I do want to have a good amount of these. They're going to be a little accoutrement, or a condiment of sorts. And just a nice little even layer. If you have any that fell off the stem naturally, go ahead and add those in. Just a nice little even layer. Some more olive oil. That should be good. A little salt. That's going to really bring out the natural sweetness of the grapes here. Even less of the pepper. I just want a little there to give it something. And the rest of my thyme. And again, just pull it off the leaves. And then come in here and toss all that together so it's evenly dispersed. The olive oil is going to really help these grapes roast nicely. They're just going to break down and burst open, get really nice and saucy, and it's just going to be a nice accompaniment to everything else we've got going on here. And I start these last. They won't take nearly as long as the potatoes. About 12 to 15 minutes. Now let's check our lamb. Okay, this is seared on all sides. So I'm going to throw it on a sheet pan here. It's at about 100 now. Now lamb can be medium to medium well. That's actually when it's its most tender. And then I'm going to get these started here. And then I will put that in so it'll finish cooking through while we sear the rest of these off. Alright, these babies have seared on all sides. I think it's time for a little changing of the guard. And we'll pull these out. They've been in the oven for about 6 to 8 minutes. And that temperature is much better. Yes, we're looking for around 140 to 145. And we have got it. Yeah, so I'm going to pull these off. I've got a little plate here. And we're just going to change these babies out. I can turn off my skillet now. I'm done with it. And we'll just push that off to the side. These will now go in until they are cooked through. And to make sure these are nice and moist and juicy, I'm just going to cover them with some foil and let them rest while the other ones cook. Alright, let's check our potatoes. They have been roasting for a good long while, about 40 minutes. And I'm going to give them a little stir here. Oh, they look so good, and that garlic is nice and brown. And you just want to make sure the potatoes are nice and soft, and they are. That's great. So, I'm going to throw my cheese on there. I told you I saved some of that feta from earlier, and I'm just going to crumble that on top. While the potatoes cook for that last 10 minutes or so, and that feta is just going to get nice and bubbly and create a nice little crust on top of the potatoes. Beautiful. And back into the oven you go for about that last 10 or so minutes. And we should be ready to feast. Okay, pulling out the rest of my lamb here. And my grapes. Oh, look at those. They have started to release their juices and just get nice and syrupy. Right. So the lamb will move over here to my little plate. And we'll cover those up. Let those rest for a little while. That can come off. Now for the grapes, I've got a little potato masher here. I'm just going to come in here and give those a little nudge in the right direction. So I want these to be nice and juicy. But it's going to give us some texture too. That looks so good, guys. Alright, then we just need to finish off our potatoes and we can plate up. Alright, now for the potatoes. Oh, those look amazing. They are nice and golden brown. And they should be nice and soft too. You should be able to run a knife right through it. And we can. Beautiful. I'm going to finish my potatoes off with some more of that lemon zest from earlier. So it's going to make it nice and fragrant. And a little parsley for garnish. And you can literally just crumble that right on top for some nice color. Now the lamb. I'm going to come in here with my little spoon. And we're going to get some of that grape sauce and just right over top. Those meaty grapes. And then we can just pour some of that juice. Oh, that looks so good. Our grapes, our potatoes, and let's not forget our cake from earlier. So you could serve this as a sweet option with some powdered sugar, or even make a glaze to go on top, but I thought it would make a nice bright component, almost like a cornbread. And I'm just going to slice me a little wedge here. So good. Now let's get us a plate. Okay, I'm going to start by getting one of these little lambs there. And I want some more of this juice. I'm also going to come in here, get a nice little helping of potatoes, and a nice wedge of our cake. And I would say that is a great. First I want to cut into this lamb here. Oh yeah, it's so good, and you can see the feta there. Oh yeah, nice and soft. Packed full of flavor. All those Greek spices we threw in there. The feta has a nice salty component. The grapes on top. That flavor really intensifies when you roast them off like that. I'm getting lots of thyme. Now for the potatoes, you can see they're nice and golden brown. And you can just kind of smash into them. They're very hot. I want some of that cheese though. Yeah. Nice and tender, really good. Plenty of salt. Again, I get the thyme, and that lemon just gives us something a little extra. And now for our cake. Just look how tender that is. So good. Nice and moist. I get the lemon, but I also get that thyme. Well, I'm going to finish up here, but I thank you guys for joining me, as always. Like and subscribe, hit me up in the comment section. And until next time, bye.